Hello, everybody. Today we have Geetha Rajagopal. Geetha, hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
Geetha has been my ex-boss, but I'll give you a formal introduction. And Geetha is a business consulting professional with over 2 decades of human capital experiences in the field of ITES, IT, healthcare, and consulting. She holds a postgraduate degree in personnel management and industrial relations from XLRI Jamshedpur. After a successful journey with large corporates like Accenture, AON Hewitt, and UHG, Geetha started her entrepreneurial journey in 2016. She is the founder of Asphan Consulting and a co-founder of Phebus HR Advisory. So, Geetha, I'll begin with small question, but then I think that will cover your journey. So, please tell us about your journey.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for that lovely introduction. I think my roles in the last 20 years, and I didn't realize it's been so long, have been a mix of both working with corporates in corporate HR type of roles, HR business partner types of roles, and also a lot of client consulting. My journey, entrepreneurship journey actually took place. I would say the seed of it got germinated in the year 2012 when I was approached by one of my friends, Monica Marcel from Language and Culture Worldwide, to start, doing a lot of freelance consulting in the area of culture. I'd just taken on a role with United Health Group, but my bosses were very kind enough to allow me to pursue this passion of mine. And that's when the whole idea started. And I started thinking about, okay, I do like to work with corporates, but maybe my passion lies with actually working with clients and doing client consulting. And that's where the whole entrepreneurship idea took seed. But the journey over the last 20 years has been fantastic, to answer your question. I think it's been a wonderful mix of understanding our core HR fundamentals. I think really knowing, okay, how do I recruit a campus person? How do I recruit a person with, a complex technology experience? How do I really engage, my people so that they can bring their best to the workplace? And then more importantly, how do you, help a client think about their future? How do they help them do workforce planning? How do they help them do org design or, change management? So I think it's been a wonderful mix of knowing your fundamentals, helping with some of the most strategic pieces of HR. And I know it's very popular now to say HR has to be a strategic business partner, but I firmly believe that you have to know end to end. You know your basics, you know your fundamentals, and you know how to talk to your business, then you have earned the right to be at the table.
Correct. Wow. You actually have mentioned a little about how your entrepreneurship journey germinated in the year 2012, but then going ahead and taking this final take of moving totally out of the corporate world and stepping into the entrepreneurship journey. You're currently you have a founder of 2 companies, and so tell us a little more about this shift. How has this shift been, the final one?
I think coming on board this ship had, I think, 2 drivers, honestly. I think one was, I think, similar to what I spoke about, the fact that I realized that I loved everything that I did, but where my heart was is really helping client with a problem. I really wanted to get in there and fix it, or help the problem, solution, come up with ideas, work with the client alongside to fix it. That's where my heart was. I wanted to do a lot of the work myself. I wanted to be in the thick of it, which sometimes may or may not be possible in a corporate role, especially after you reached a certain level. You're doing more of management, and all of that is very, very important. But this is where my heart lay. That's number one. I think second was I was about to turn 40. We didn't have a child. And, finally it clicked in my mind that, I think I should have a baby now and not lose out of it. So the project manager that I was, and I put a project plan. And part of that project plan was to, I can't do a 24/7 job and try and have a baby. So I took the plunge and, moved from a full-time corporate type of a role to a full-time consulting. So I was still consulting full-time with a healthcare company. I was founding Asphan Consulting. I was starting to, consult and, serve as on the board of a couple of other companies as advisor. But I said, okay, this new model allows me to focus on those two drivers that we spoke about, focusing on what I'm really passionate about, and also, having a baby and being able to enjoy his childhood now.
Indeed, indeed. That's probably I love looking at your pictures, and the way you actually come up with those games, really interactive. Tell us, as an entrepreneur, what have been your challenges and your learnings?
Oh, there have been many, and in no particular order. I would probably say, um, first and foremost, the fact that, when we started, we were not necessarily sure about, we were a bootstrap. We were not going to take investment from someone. We were putting in our own money into this whole process, and I spoke about two companies. Asphan is my own baby, and Phebus HR Advisory is, a company that I've founded with my partner Sunil Dugal, who used to be also ex United Health Group and ex Hewitt. And we've started a boutique HR consulting firm, very much like yours, focusing on end-to-end HR consulting. Um, Regardless of what your title was, regardless of what level you operated in and how large a team you had, when you're an entrepreneur, you keep that outside the door, because you're going to go and talk to the client and literally ask for business. So that's the
True.
first thing I learned. And I think we both told ourselves all the time, because we were talking to people across the hierarchy. We were talking to people who will not probably show interest but not return our calls. Your friendships got tested at this point of time. So that was the first lesson. You could be a VP HR, but right now you're a person asking for work. I think the second one was, especially when you're trying to bootstrap it, invest your own money, you have to be very careful about expenses versus the return. You spend very less and you're not likely to scale. And if you focus too much on, expenses, and you're trying to burn through the money that you have. So I think we've been very careful. And so maybe we have not necessarily, grown, 2x or 3x time in the year and a half that we've been in operation. But I think the good news is that what the work that we are doing, again, staying true to our principles, the work that we're doing for our clients is, very important. And that brings my third learning and third, challenge, I would say, focus on consistent delivery. Ensure that every single client, how small a work it is, how big a work it is absolutely satisfied with the delivery, because the word of mouth matters a lot, especially
So
in
true.
these business. There are many players. So I would say those are the learnings as well as the challenges that we, faced through the last, I would say, 18, 20 months that we've been in operation.
Indeed, in fact, because we have been, I think, in the entrepreneurial journey for almost close to 2 years now, similar to you. And when you mentioned this, that you are a VP HR or whoever you are, just leave it outside the door, because right now we're there asking for business.
Yes.
And yes, each and every client is very important. Totally. In fact, because initially also, when you are a big organization, if there are 10 people complaining, it really doesn't matter, because the ratio takes care of it, because there are
Precisely.
other 90% who are happy with it. So you can still be happy with it, but you can't really afford to make any mistake. And being in a entrepreneurial journey of like just 2 years or so,
Yeah.
that's so bang on. That's true to the core. And you know tell a and I'm you are a mother, and I think probably you're the best person to answer this question. Like, when it comes to HR, the moment you say HR to your family member also, like, oh, to aap hiring karte ho, that is what is something which is a normal thought process, and it is regardless of the intellectual capacity of the person you're talking to. And so I wanted to understand, how will you explain your role as an HR to your child?
Yeah, you brought a smile to my face, because आप hiring करते हो, and the second thing is, I know so and so, can I get their CV to you? Give me your email ID. That's the next praise, and God knows how much hours we've explained people, what we do. HR to a child, interesting. So I would say to a child, if your daddy and mummy goes to work, my job is to make sure that they work in a place which is really, really nice. And sometimes, like, you have teachers when you go to school who tell you what to do, how to do it, teach you new things. Sometimes I also go to a place and teach your mummy and papa how to do new things, how to learn new things, how to become better at what they do. So, and I also make sure that they are very happy and they are very thrilled when they're spending time away from you, so that when they come back to you, they make you also equally happy. That's what I would say.
Wow, that's so beautiful and beautifully put. And so I like that it cannot be simplified any further. I think I can make my 6-year-old niece also understand now. I'm going to copy this.
You're welcome.
One, last question, but then very, very important. That is your message to our viewers, and our viewers are majorly, HR people from different, areas, and also entrepreneurs, both.
I would probably have different messages for different people. So maybe let me start by saying, okay, what I'm for people in general, and especially when you're an entrepreneur trying to, give germ to an idea and figure it out, right? So I think what I'm going to say is focus on your dreams. Focus on your dreams, regardless of, how different they may sound, how crazy they may sound, how unsurmountable they may sound. That's number one. Number two, especially in this era of VCs and funding, valuations and stuff like that, people like us who are bootstrapping it, who are happy being a small boutique firm, doing a little bit and trying to really make a difference for their clients. Sometimes you may feel a little overwhelmed and say, oh my God, why am I not that next Byju's, or why am I not the next, An Academy? Those are the ones which are coming to my mind right now. Just be happy with the scale you are, because that's what you want to achieve, right? So be happy with the scale, continue to focus on the fundamental. A happy client, a happy, if you have employees, a happy set of employees, and more importantly, staying true to the work that you started out to be. There's always this feeling of spreading yourself too thin. Let's do this also, let's do that also, because you want to scale and you want to, but staying true to your business fundamentals, keeping your client happy, and if you have an expanded team or network of consultants or partners, ensuring that they are happy and engaged to be working with you, I think would be my second message. And I think for the HR people in general, I would probably say over the last 20 years, something that I've seen is that regardless of, which school you came from, regardless of what this department you're part of, knowing your HR fundamentals, knowing how payroll works, knowing how recruiting works, conducting an interview, using Excel, doing pivots, the fundamentals, the core fundamentals of what sometimes HR is, right? Reporting, analytics, the basic, the grunt work. Make sure you do that, because if you don't know the basics and fundamentals, there's no way with true integrity you can go and consult a client or tell a HR leader this is how I think you should be thinking about. That's number one. Number two, what is something I've seen and observed and really appreciated, that some of the best leaders I've worked with have never shied away from doing hands-on work. I currently work with a client who's like a senior SVP of HR, who still is okay about writing up memos herself, doing presentations herself, writing up slides herself, which I think is a very important thing. And the last but not the least is, please know your business. A strategic business partner is such a, oxymoron if you don't want to understand your business. Knowing your business inside out, how does a business make money, is absolutely important to know. Because once you know that, how your business makes money, you then have earned the right, to be at the table and to be really considered, someone who's understanding of the business. So probably a long answer to your short question, but just some thoughts which were going in my head as you asked that question.
Wow. I'm overwhelmed with that answer. I think you've touched clearly defined what exactly, probably the basic is the need of the hour. And I think, I totally agree, and I'm totally in sync with you. Like, whatever level you are, you should always be ready to roll down your sleeve and get into work. That's it. Work mode. Totally agree with that. Thank you so much, Geetha, for making it today, this morning on a Saturday early. Thank you so much, and telling us, how important it is to stick to the basics, stick to the ethics that we have been taught as kids, and be true to what we do.
Thank you so much for having me. And on that note, I wanted to share a quote which I've always heard one of my senior colleagues, Sunit, say, is that life is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's remember that.